Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. This is part 2 of the Baseball Card Hall of Fame episode. Thanks to Ray from Philly, Mike Steveline, Victor Roman Sr., who are putting together, doing the heavy lifting for this Baseball Card Hall of Fame project in its 4th or 5th year. You can check out the whole thing on YouTube. Go there, look up the Baseball Card Hall of Fame. Please vote. I think they got hundreds of votes, but it'll be great if they had thousands of votes. Be more representative of more people. The hobby is strong. It's older cards and newer cards, and I think it'd be a great resource for people to see. And it's very visual. They've put that together. Thanks to my sponsors, Topps Panini and Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins & Scott Auctions, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication. So had a lot of fun with this. As I said, don't be overly influenced by me. I hope you'll enjoy this snippet of what I discussed with those guys on their show. Please go to their show for the full thing and to see the smiling faces. There are 4 of us on the Zoom or StreamYard, plus the visual elements of the cards. So podcast not as good, but podcast is what I do. So I want to give it to my loyal listeners. Thank you all. I'll be back again tomorrow.
Mike Moynihan on his excellent podcast. He wasn't shocking the world, but Victor, you probably know this. It's the most valuable Topps rookie card out there, because Mantle and Mays are not
rookies.
This is the most expensive Topps rookie of the era when Topps was from, say, 51 to 80. So I voted for this. I mean, it's a great card, beautiful, notorious for sure, in a good way of being condition sensitive. Last card in the set, great card.
Eddie Matthews rookie, not a bad choice.
Okay, 53 Bowman color Mantle. You've got 52 Mantle Topps. 51 Bowman Mantle.
Yeah, 51 Bowman.
Topps.
And
So
we have the 56. Yep.
And 56, which I think the 56 is very iconic as well. So it just hurts me to say this. I'd make this one wait as well. Otherwise you've got the Mickey Mantle Baseball Card Hall of Fame.
Yeah, of course.
And you could pick every year of Mantle, and then you could do Roberto Clemente,
right,
and Hank Aaron, and all that. So
yeah, that's one of our current struggle, putting new cards on the ballot. Too many cards of the same player, or too many cards of the same set.
If you said no player can get more than 5, then they'd say, hey, I'm going to have to pick the best 5, or no more than 3 from any one set. Well, I got to pick the best. You guys have a dilemma. I'm just a solitary voter here, guys. So appreciate what you're doing, but I'm glad I'm not on the hot seat. I'm just one voter.
Eventually they'll all be in.
I think that, and deservedly, 54 Bowman, this was on the cusp for me. That was always a tough card for me. I have it now, but I never found it in the 70s and 80s. I found it, but I've always believed it was tougher than what it was priced. It was so underrated. It's like a short print. It's probably removed rather than a replacement card with licensing stuff. So I love that card, but I think it has to wait. K-Line, same thing. K-Line, you already have Banks and Aaron in for 54 Topps. And K-Line is a worthy third. If you were going to put in 3, he'd be third. So I'd eventually have him in. It's clearly his best card, but again, he's the 3rd best guy in that set.
Right.
To me, that means he has to wait. But I love the color, the youthful. He was great right from the get-go.
18 years old.
Yeah.
Awesome from the start. Yep.
Okay. And the other reason I didn't vote for the 54 Bowman is because of the 54 Wilson Wieners.
Yeah, great card.
That is a great card. And I've told a story that I actually lost the card, or I misplaced it. I couldn't find it for about 20 plus years. I knew I had it somewhere. I knew I hadn't sold it because I love that card. I voted for it. The other reason it's important, I think, is that, again, in the 60s and the 70s, when I was collecting so heavy, you were judged in your collecting pecking order. It was assumed you had all the baseball card sets from the 50s. But what they didn't know is how many of the regional cards and the hot dog cards, the Stahl Myers, the Glendale Meats, the Wilson Wieners, they weren't considered to be rookie cards, but they were so much tougher than Topps and Bowman that there was a bragging rights of having those cards. And again, just like now, they weren't necessarily for sale. Right. If people brought them to their table, they weren't necessarily offering them for sale. They might be for trade for something else equally rare. So the first time I saw one of those, I picked it up. And again, no questions asked, no dickering on the price. In those days, it wouldn't have been that much, but it's whatever they wanted. I said, well, I love that card. So, and again, to me, that's way better than the 54 Bowman. So I would cast my weight on this one. It's one of the best hot dog cards you can have. Probably the Stahl Myers are better than the Mantle or the Mays.
Love it.
Okay, 57 Brooks Robinson. There again, Mike Moynihan was going through the valuable Topps Hall of Famers, and he was lamenting that Brooks was so much more expensive than Frank. They both have rookie cards in the 57 tops. I selected the Brooks because he's in the tough series. It's the next to last series for 57s that are tougher. And so that is a great card. He looks so old now compared to how young he looks here. Now you think, how could that guy be such a great third baseman? He looks like an old man. He was a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
Probably a Schmidt guy, but Robinson set the standard. Well, the Mantle's a great card in 57. The Koufax is a great card in that series. But Brooks and Aaron with the reverse negative, but I'm voting for Brooks. Okay, so he's
can't go wrong with that. A lot of rookies in that set too.
There's Jim Bunning and Mazeroski and Frank and Brooks, and we're missing one. Drysdale. Okay, 58 Maris. I love the card. It shows him in less complicated days. You just think, wow, 3 years later, this guy is the attention of every sports writer and sportscast of his chase for 61. And there's no 58s in there yet, and this is really a worthy card. I think it'll eventually get in there, but I didn't vote for it this time. I'm actually sympathetic for Maris to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And same with Dale Murphy. I think 2 MVPs, 2 years in a row where they say you are the best player, that's better than 10 years of mediocrity. And the last 5 years for Murphy and for Maris of not really performing at their same level. They had performed at a really high level, and Maris was just spent as a person, I think. Just that was really tough. So my heart's with Maris, but I'm going to wait for Yaz, same thing. I respect Yaz. I'm not taking it off because it's horizontal, because all those rookie stars were horizontal in 60. I remember collecting in 60, but it just was never a tough card, Victor and Mike. It wasn't a tough enough card. In my neighborhood, nobody said, hey, did you get the Yaz? Again, he really hadn't emerged at that time. It's a worthy card now. He's a second baseman. What's going on there? So I would make him wait. I think it eventually gets in because it's a indication of a style. Oh, I glossed over one of the cards that made a big splash in my neighborhood. Of course, he was originally from Pennsylvania, was the Stan Musial 58 Topps All-Star. Yeah. He had sat out for all those years of no cards, and he was super popular as a player, really nice man. I've met him, and he's from Demora, which I think is Western Pennsylvania. He was just a good old guy, and that card in my neighborhood was a big deal. Because it was the first Stan Musial.
That's a good choice for next year's ballot.
Next year, yeah.
Definitely. Yes, rookie is getting a lot of hobby love in the past year. I've noticed 60 Topps rookie here of Carl.
Carl,
a lot of hobby love, yeah.
It's a great card. Okay, Seaver with the Dennehy. I don't have a problem with the second guy on there, even though they look the same. I think you have a choice of whether you want to do Seaver or Carew. They're both tough, but when I did get a case of high numbers of 67s one time, and Seaver was tougher than Carew, and again, the toughest card in the 67 high number was Brooks Robinson.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That would also be a consideration. Now, I've already voted for 57 Topps Brooks, so I'm not going to vote for both of them at the same time. But if you had a 67 Brooks Robinson, again, I broke a case, and there were very few Brooks Robinsons in there, but not twice as many Seavers or Carews than Seavers, but noticeably more. So there probably were some double. Okay, so I did vote for the Seaver. The 67. 68 Seaver, obviously I didn't. Again, I love the Topps Trophy All-Star rookie things. That was a big thing in the 60s. And I think you need to have one of them in there, but I wouldn't put them both in the same year. So I'd leave it on the ballot. And for the same reason, the next card, the bench, which is the 69, I love the little trophy there. Add some distinction to it. Again, very worthy. Your catcher short, perhaps, if you don't have Berra or Bench, arguably two of the very best catchers of my lifetime or ever. So, again, I didn't vote for it, but I think eventually it's going to get in because his two-player rookie card, I think, is just not that tough. Just doesn't get that much respect. If you were ever going to go against Victor and say, we're going to use the second player, the second-year individual card, this would be an opportunity to do that. Clemente, again, hurts me to say. I did not vote for this card. Again, it's not a posthumous card. I think it was produced when he was still alive in its first series, and they just let it come out. There's no notation on it. It's a classy card. I just think I have such a bias for Clemente. I'm trying to say, hey, I can't vote for everything Roberto, the great one. But when you think of what player has a famous last card, I think most people think of 69 Topps Mantle. Yes. Card, more so than the 73 Clemente. I think Clemente would be the second one you'd think of. because
Right.
he died
Right.
last day of 70. Yeah. Okay. Is it Ray from Boston? Is it
No.
Ray from New York? No, it's
No.
Ray from Philly. I'm saying, Ray,
Right.
I did not do this just for you, but I didn't want to get kicked off the show. So I voted for this Ron Say rookie. No, Schmidt.
Yeah.
I have that card autographed by Say. Should I erase the autograph? If it was autographed by Schmidt, I'd be really pleased. John Keating digs deep into the 70s with his 70s card show. And one of the reasons Mike Schmidt is his hero is because Mike Schmidt started out cold and hung in there, then came on strong for 600 homers.
Yeah.
And this card is reflective of a guy that's just one of three. And at the time, I think every general manager would have rather had surely Ron Say, the Penguin, maybe even John Hilton. I don't know. Mike Schmidt couldn't make contact. When he did, he hit it a long way. And so
he had a bad rookie year.
Great career. So I'd like to think Ron Say's a plus. It's probably a plus, but if it was just Mike Schmidt, I'd be fine with that. So I voted for him.
The man